2-5, nigga. Coop hanging out the roof, nah, nigga. Cause I ain't stunting on them. Put my whole team on so they ain't wantin'. When niggas doing bad, you know that they be hating on you. Get the hoping that you fall, they be waiting on it. Bullshit, get bread from the envy. Best friends get to looking like enemies. When you got it in this bank account empty. Perfect recipe to breed a lot of jealousy. Looking from a bird's eye view. Learn from everything I've been through. Told my baby girl, if you ain't spending life with the nigga, never let him put a dick up in you. Cause if a nigga wrong, I'ma check that shit. And when you paper long, never flex that shit. Told my son, when you getting money, never trick it to a bobber, flip it over, then invest that shit. Give a lot of game, trying to bless my kid. Gotta keep it real, that's the best shit. Got hitters up in Philly, back in Texas. When I get up on the track, yeah, I wreck shit.
Always up on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome. Always up on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding strap on my chrome.
Going sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding around with my chrome. Going sip on my own. Don't need you all in my zone. Spend so much time alone while I'm riding around with my chrome.
All right, how we on the sound now? I'm gonna go ahead and check. We doing a quick sound check real quick. If y'all can hear me, shout out to the chat. All right, look like we good on the sound. So we got Brianna Bright, Shalom Yahweh Shamala Dunba, Shemi Awashai. That's the rib of Officer 50 Zaraba Carr. We also got Kana Yahweh that put a 1 in the chat for us having good sound. So I appreciate that. And I'll go ahead and give my introduction again. So this is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge under Commander General Yohana. We have been called to teach the so-called Black, so-called Hispanic, and so-called Native American people that we are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That comes with a lot of responsibility. There are questions that brothers and sisters are going to have. There are situations that are going to take counsel. And as us being under Commander General Yohana, he sent us out, under the order of the Lord in Christ to go ahead and help our people. And that's what we do every single day in this truth. So I'm going to start off by answering one of the questions. This question is from somebody in the class. And, pretty much the situation is we know on the so-called oppressor or the European, we call would be, an Edomite or an oppressor. And, generally speaking, by and large, there's been a long history of turmoil between us, even though it's seemingly been cleaned up with Joe Biden, as some people would think, that we don't have issues with the oppressor. We don't have issues with other nations, but realistically, we do have issues. One of the questions was asked, would you like to ask the question? Or no sweat. One of the questions that was asked was, what should be done if, oppressor is helping them out, letting them, live somewhere for free on their land, this, that, and the fourth. My answer would be, be careful with that situation. There are some times where you'll come across an oppressor and that oppressor does treat you, fairly. You can do business with an oppressor. But at the same time, the Bible says, never trust your enemies. So you should, take heed and beware of what's happening and never put yourself in a position, to be, lined up by that oppressor. And you should also seek means to be out of that situation where you're under the foot, because at any moment, to my understanding, that oppressor could say, you got to get out of here and you got to go. So if somebody could, let me get Ecclesiasticus 12, 10 through 11. because I want to get that for you in the scriptures. This is a scripture that brothers and sisters should already know. But for those of you who need it as a precept to back up what you're saying, this is about trusting your enemy. Because you'll notice, and even in this situation, you'll notice that once you say who you are or what you are, that kindness might turn into something else. That that humbleness might turn into, the feeling of anger from those people. And let's go ahead and get that. So that'd be Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 10, whoever has it.
Khan Adawan Khan. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus 12, verse 10. The preachers to find.
And that was a Ecclesiasticus.
Oh, all right. Salaki.
Yeah, 12 and 10. I think you got that?
Sir. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy.
So this is saying never trust thine enemy. So with that being said, with that never being put in place there, that means under no circumstances should you ever trust your enemy. If you're doing business with an enemy that's from another nation, you should be dotting your T, or Salakia. You should be dotting your I's and crossing your T's, making sure you got everything in order, whether that be legally, whether that be contractually. You should be doing everything in your power to make sure that you don't get ran over by the oppressor. It says, never trust thine enemy. I'll give you, there's a story, and it's easy to find because it's the person who came up with buffalo wings. They had an oppressor as a friend. This brother invented buffalo wings, and it became so famous that it was so many people lined up to get those buffalo wings. And he was selling them for a very low price because back in the days, chicken wasn't $12, $13 a pack. He had an oppressor as a friend. The oppressor was helping him out with stuff. In the end, what the oppressor did was ended up patenting what that brother had made and ended up enriching his own family. And the family who the brother's family who came up with this does not get to see any of the results or any of the profit from making the chicken wings. And it sounds like something silly because I'm mentioning chicken wings and I'm mentioning a brother, but we know like buffalo wings is a popular thing for us to eat, whether it be a fight, a Super Bowl game, going out for drinks with the fellas. Am I right? Exactly. Like wings is a popular thing. So buffalo wings was something that was invented by a brother who had a friend who was an oppressor. That friend stole his idea and went and patented it for himself. And now he reaps the benefit. So it says, never trust thine enemy. Continue.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
What that oppressor did to that brother is absolutely wicked. It's absolutely wicked. So with this situation with a brother living on the property of an oppressor with like no paperwork, this, that, and the fourth, everything could be all fine. But you want to remember to never trust thine enemy. Don't do anything crazy on the property. Be ready at a moment's notice to go and keep preparing yourself because verse 11 says,
verse 11, though he humble himself and go crouching.
So that person might be in your life pretending like they are your friend. And the Lord is telling you that they're your enemy. That person might be saying, I can do this for you. I can do this for you. We got love for you. But if there's an opportunity, that person is going to show that rust. That like it says in verse 10, that person is it's gonna show what they're, how it says, you show me your true colors. There's been many a time where you might have a friend and after a while, they just show you their true colors. They get comfortable, time goes on, and they haven't proved themselves as a friend. They're showing their true colors like iron rusted. So this enemy in this particular sense would be talking about somebody from another nation. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So the situation is this, with the brother that's living on the property. He told this Christian family that he's an Israelite. Their whole demeanor changed after that. So don't you see in the scriptures how that adds up to where the Lord is saying, don't trust your enemy, because like iron, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Sometimes an oppressor is going to be nice to you because they might see you as less than, but once they can see you as something else, and they no longer fit the mold of something holy, something that's just something so great, like they're seen in the many pictures that were drawn by the artists back in the day. Like when an oppressor sees themselves in the news, the media, and pictures and movies, they're not seeing themselves as you, because in movies, how are brothers and sisters portrayed? That we're like Officer Kai said, we're portrayed as drug dealers. We're portrayed as characters that are just unbecoming of somebody that's a good citizen. We're portrayed as addicts,
Thugs and junkies.
thugs, junkies, promiscuous people. So they might see it as, I'm helping this lowly person. But once you let them know, like, no, you helping a child of the Most High God, an actual Jew, their whole thing is going to change. They see you as being somebody that's probably a Hamite in most cases. They see you as being somebody that's cursed. Who had that the curse what was it? Salaki, it escapes me. But a lot of these devils will compare us to Hamites and say we have that curse that the scriptures talk about. You wanted to say something?
Yeah, kind. So I mean, what you're saying is exactly kind of how it went. You know what I mean? It's like, I was in a terrible situation. I know them for a while and all that, and they feel like they're looking out for somebody that's probably
Right.
below. Like somebody that was, not doing.
They get they good deed in. They want to feel good about what they do.
But the minute I told them, I'm an Israelite. I mean, I can't really go to church, all that with you, all that.
Right.
Like when I was of the world and Christianity and all that, I ain't I'm an Israelite. They face kind of cringed and it looked like they wanted to spit. You know what I mean? And I ain't gonna lie, that kind of made me just
withdraw. Withdraw. You don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, at all. You know what I mean? I know I shouldn't talk about it with them. They Edomites. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, this ain't really something that I should be even speaking to you about. But at the end of the day, I'm here. I've known you for a while, so I'm gonna let you know Israelite.
Right.
But just the way that it looked like, had I kept going, all that could have just blew up. You know what I mean? So,
and if I could, let's finish this verse, because what you said is heavy in the fact of what the scriptures say too. Let's go ahead and continue reading that. We can start from the top. Though he humble himself.
Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse 11. Though he humble himself.
That whole time that they were around you, for as long as you've known them, they've always been so nice. They've always been in a position where they feel great. They know that they're not the children of Israelites, because in their mind they probably think that's the little hats that are over across the sea, wreaking havoc on those Arabs over there. But they feel like they've been grafted in. But for you to say that you are something that is greater than being just a dusty Hamite that was pulled off a boat and having a grass skirt, their whole mentality is, we did you a favor, because before your people even came to this country, they believe we were probably heathens, cannibals. We were probably just uncivilized individuals, and they've done you a favor by putting you in slavery. And now that everything's all good, they believe that, oh, you can live on my land and we'll help you out because we're just such good Christians and we're doing a good deed. But it says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take a good heed and beware of him. You got to beware of these people. And thou shalt be unto him as thou hadst wiped the looking glass. When you told him that, you wiped away what was really going on. That fogginess, when you told them that, you seen their faces scrunch up. Now that they've revealed their true colors, as I say, with the iron, it's rusted now. You're starting to see what they really are. So once you tell them, like, well, no, I'm an Israelite, I'm a Jew, I can't go to church with you, I can't eat pork, I don't keep the Sabbath on Sunday because the last day of the week is Saturday, and that's sun worship. What you doing? They're going to begin to hate you when you say that, and they're going to show their true colors. And it says, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. That rust that's showing up, you're going to eventually see it. You know, oh, you weren't clean. You are wicked. You are this, because I told you one simple thing about myself, where you could have told me that you were related to Princess Diana. You could have told me that your lineage goes back to, you know, whatever, you know, glorified Edomite or oppressor that's in the world. And you wouldn't have looked at him. You wouldn't have scrunched your face up. A normal, you know, Jake in the world will look at a oppressor with reverence after they say that. But if you say that you're something great, if you say that you're a Benjamite, right? If you say that you're a Benjamite and you actually know that your people are the lost sheep of the house of Israel, that's going to bother them, because when you're talking about that, you're letting them know that you come from the stock of the greatest people on earth, and whatever they got going on pales in comparison. So now there's that crisis where they're like, I'm supposed to be helping him out. He's here. I'm here. They want to be the head, not the tail. And they're starting to show their true colors. One thing you never want to do, which it doesn't sound like you even got close to it in this situation, you just stopped talking about it. But if brothers and sisters are ever in that situation, don't ever deny who you are, your heritage, or Christ. Because if somebody can look at the scripture that says, believe on Christ as the scriptures say. We don't believe on Christ as an oppressor, you know, that looks like Caesar Borgia, you know, blonde hair, blue eyes, this, that, and the fourth. That's not what the scriptures describe him as. That's the standard of beauty in Europe. But that's not what the Bible described Christ as. The Bible described Christ as something completely different. Hair of wool, eyes red like with wine.
That's right.
You know, dark skin. And they don't see that as a thing of beauty. They don't see you as being, you know, an Israelite. So once you tell them, well, I'm a Jew, there's a clash there. Salaki, anybody find that scripture for me? All right, no second. No sweat, I'll get it for you. Let me see. Believe on Christ as the scriptures say. Let me get that. Because it's have faith on Christ as the scriptures, I believe. Have faith on Christ. I could be botching it up, but give me 1 second. Because that's an important one right there.
John 17:3.
That's possible. Let me see. No, let me get John 7:38.
Oh, that's
No sweat, no sweat. So if I can get somebody to read that for me, because you want to do what Christ told you to do. You want this verse to be you. You don't want to believe on Christ as they believe on Christ, because they don't believe Christ is a black man from the tribe of Judah. They believe that he's, you know, some European looking oppressor, you know, from the Dukes of Edom, when that's just not the case. And you'll be hated for telling the truth. They'll become your enemy, as the scriptures say, for you telling them the truth. So if I can get that, John 7:38.
Khan Adawan Khan. This is the book of John, chapter 7, verse 38. He that believeth on me, as the scriptures have said.
So the scriptures say that Christ had hair of wool. The scriptures say that his skin was like brass that was polished or burned in a furnace. That is a dark-skinned brother right there. Not white, not light skin. It specifically says dark. So in here, we believe on Christ as the scriptures say. We believe exactly what the Bible is telling us. And there's no differentiation between our doctrine and what the scriptures say. We have the doctrine of Christ, of God. And that's going to be that's going to be a big issue with people. And there's a reason for that, because people have been brainwashed, and there's been propaganda from the times of when they took over, you know, this entire planet. But let me get Matthew 10:33 through 34. And we're going to get a couple more scriptures on this topic, and then we'll move on to the lesson. So that would be Matthew 10, 33 through 34. Because we want to have faith on Christ as the scriptures say, and we never want to deny Christ. Somebody asks you who is Christ or who are you? Give them an answer. Tell them the truth. They ask the question. You also want to be wise about it. We'll get that, but you never want to deny him. Somebody can read whenever they're ready.
Khan, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 33. But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven.
So that's self-explanatory right there. You don't want to deny Christ. You want to believe on Christ as the scriptures say, and you want to, if somebody asks you, tell them. Somebody holds up a picture and says, ain't this Christ right here? You talking about he's a black man? No, that's not Christ. Look at this. What do the scriptures say? Continue. 34.
Verse 34. Think not that I am come to send peace on earth, but I came not to send peace, but a sword.
That's going. You telling them that kind of puts a sword between y'all. That means like war. That means a conflict between y'all, and it's in their very nature to have an issue with what you're saying. As you can see, the scriptures describe them to a T. Let me get Matthew 26 and verse 69. And this is an example of somebody denying Christ because of, fear. Because denying Christ can come in a lot of different ways. The ISUPK is the body of Christ. So if somebody asks me and they got an issue with ISUPK, whether it's 100 people, 1,000 people, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. But I don't ever want to be like Peter in this situation. If somebody asks me about Christ, I don't ever want to deny Christ and try to describe or add on to the scriptures and do something else, because I don't want to be like Peter in this situation. I want to stand tall no matter what, because Christ stood tall. When it was time for him to go on the cross and, die for our sins, he didn't deny the Father. He went ahead and got on that cross and didn't compromise. We can't compromise. Yo, man, Ace, you had a question on the topic? What you got, Matthew 26 and 69? You certain? All right, let's hear it.
Matthew's.
And read loud and don't read too fast.
Okay. Matthew's 26 and 69. Now Peter was sitting out in the courtyard, and a servant girl came to him. You also were with Jesus of
Galilee.
Galilee, she said.
And read a little bit louder if you could.
But he denied it before them all.
So there were some things that were happening to the disciples, and it made Peter afraid to say that he was with them. So Christ was hauled off, and now Peter, it says, now Peter was without in that. So Peter's by himself in that place, in the palace. And a damsel came unto him saying, thou also was with Jesus of Galilee. So she's like, yo, weren't you with them? You was with them too. Verse 70, read.
Verse 70. But he, 71?
No, 70. Go ahead and read 70.
But he denied it before them all.
But he denied it before them all. And Christ had already prophesied that Peter would do this. And that fear took over and he denied them. So Peter wasn't out professing like, I know Yahushua and, this, that, and the fourth. He was asked a question. So in that moment, Peter should have stood tall. Even in the face of death, Peter should have stood tall. Continue.
I don't.
No, I know not what thou sayest.
It says I don't. Oh, it says I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, you brother, you might got the wrong translation. No sweat.
The New International Version.
No sweat. We'll get you a different Bible, but if somebody could pick up where he left off and throw out a Ace. Well, we'll start at verse 69 again. Matthew 26 and 69. Baba Kasha.
Khan Adawan Khan. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 69. Salaki. Now Peter sat without in the palace, and a dazzle came unto him, saying, Thou also wast with Jesus of Galilee.
So he's by himself, and a woman comes up to him and says, Yo, you were with Yahushua, who the world so ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Continue.
But he denied before them all, saying, I know not what thou sayest.
He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. You ever see somebody, they about to get in trouble for something? They're like, yo, wasn't you over there by such and such? And then they just flat out lie. Like there's probably times where a brother might be with his friends, him and his friends do something crazy to another brother. And when that brother catches one of them by themselves, yo, wasn't you with Raheem and them? Nah, I don't know what you're talking about, because that fear is taking over. Now you don't feel so safe. In this situation, he didn't feel safe, so he's denying Christ. Continue.
And when he was gone out into the porch, another maid saw him.
So now another person see this is ridiculous. So now another person is seeing Peter and about to say something similar. Continue.
And said unto them that were there, This fellow was with Yahushua of Nazareth.
So they're saying that he was with Yahushua, Jesus of Nazareth. So another person is seeing him and about to prove Christ's point again. Continue.
And again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man.
Peter's so afraid that he swore on it. You never want to get in this position. Your heart starts racing. You start getting nervous. Voice get a little shaky. Hands tremble. Still stand 10 toes down. You know, even animals like a lion or a bear. What other ferocious animals we got out there? A tiger. A lot of the times when they're in the heat of battle, they're enraged with whatever animal adrenaline or hormones they have in them, but they're also scared. A lot of animals will fight because they're scared. I know plenty of brothers in the world, including myself, that have had, to fight up against things, and you got some fear in you, but you still have to be brave, because what Peter was being in this instance is a coward. And you never want to be put in that position, because once you get out of it and all that fear is gone, that regret takes over. So this is a lesson to those brothers and sisters that have not gone through that. Don't ever deny Christ or what you believe in. If you feel like it's going to cost you your job, you don't necessarily have to talk about what you got going on with anybody. But if somebody says, wasn't that you on the streets reading or preaching with ISUPK? Because ISUPK is seen as a hate group, but we're not. Like the general says, we are a love group. We love Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. There's a slew of other groups that actually are hate groups. You got the Ku Klux Klan. You got Planned Parenthood. Those are hate groups. They actually do terrible things to people.
That's right.
You have people over in Gaza that are state-funded organizations that unalive tens and 20s and 30,000s of people. Those are actual hate groups. The actual people who designated us as a hate group, and I say this all the time, they are actually a hate group because they have ties to domestic terrorism against the police. They had a whole lawyer that went and was throwing bombs at a police station, or a police, what was that? It was a police where they do their exercises and stuff at. Yeah, a police training facility. Well, it was like a training facility, and it was something new that they were doing. And this guy, he's bringing pipe bombs today, and he's a part of the group. I think it's the SP, whatever, one of those state-funded organizations that deemed us as a hate group. And they also have ties to racism and discrimination against women and African Americans within their job. But yet we're the hate group. Don't ever let somebody make you deny who you're with because they don't understand what's going on. The Lord understands you in here doing the work. The Lord knows exactly who Christ is. Never deny. Let me see what we got. Let's go down. Let's jump down to 74 and we'll get ready to wrap this up.
Verse 74. Oh, Salakia. This is the book of Matthew 26 and 74. Then began he to curse and to swear, saying, I know not the man. And
he's starting to go crazy. He's cursing. He's making oaths. He's going full-blown coward mode. Continue.
And immediately the cock crow.
Christ prophesied that he would deny him 3 times before that cock crowed. Verse 75 says, and Peter remembered the words of Yahushua, which said unto him, before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out and wept bitterly because of all that regret that he had. You don't ever have to deny Christ. I'll tell you why. You don't ever have to deny your heritage. Because if somebody can get Matthew 16 and 24. Before we even read those verses, I'll just tell you, because it's better to lose what you have, because that's what people are generally trying to protect. They're trying to protect what they have. And they know if they tell the truth of the matter of who they are and what they know and what they believe in and who they serve, that it can cost them greatly. They think it can cost them greatly. But what Peter lost is far worse than losing a house. He actually walked with Christ, saw the miracles. He actually was right there with him. Wasn't Peter the one who cut off a Roman soldier's ear?
That's right.
He fought beside Christ and tried to protect Christ. But in the end, he bitched up. Salakia. In the end, he was a coward because he was afraid of losing his life. Now we're afraid of losing our money. You see what happened to Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon, his goofy behind is on the internet calling the oppressor a caveman and saying that the Jews are black. And he couldn't stand 10 toes down. Then he had to apologize and retract what he said.
God.
He's denying the very essence of what the Bible speaks of when he did that. Who else did that nonsense? Well, Kyrie, in a sense, didn't stand fully 10 toes down. But I don't even know what Kyrie even is. Is he a Muslim now? Is he a Jew? But brothers really don't out in the world don't really stand 10 toes down because it's easier to be a coward. It's easy. It's easy. The hard thing to do is stand in the face of adversity. Let's read it. Matthew 16 to 24. Princess Mazarat said Kanye. Now I don't remember Kanye ever apologizing, but I do remember Kanye kind of taking a back seat to what was going on. So that's a good point. But yeah, if we can go ahead and read that.
Khan, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 16, and verse 24. Then said Yahushua unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself.
Deny yourself. Don't deny Christ. Deny what you think you're going to lose. Your house, your car, your family. All of the things that you think you're about to lose, all of that money that you think you could lose. You being comfortable at the job. You might lose just simply being comfortable. You might get some dirty looks at the job, but continue.
And take up his cross and follow me.
Be ready to suffer. Be ready to take on that strife and pain that comes with following, Christ. Continue.
Verse 25. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it.
You try to maintain and deny Christ or keep your riches you're going to lose everything. You're going to actually, you trying to save that these small carnal things is going to cause you to lose everything. Continue.
And whosoever shall lose his life for my sake shall find it.
You're going to find your life. Let me see. I think I got one more verse on this. Well, two more verses on this subject. Let me get Matthew 6:25. And you know what? Let me see. I might go ahead and read it for time's sake, because I want to get on to what we came, because we're not going to be, too far over the time tonight. Matthew 6:25 says, therefore I say unto you, take no thought of your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body what ye shall put on. So this isn't talking about don't worry about what you're wearing or don't worry about what you have to eat. This is talking about you already know in the scriptures what you are allowed to eat as far as the law, statutes, and commandments are concerned, what you should put on. If you're a man, you shouldn't be wearing the clothes of a woman. If you're an Israelite, you shouldn't be eating, shrimp, crab, lobster, or anything else that is an abomination. Is not the life more than meat and the body than raiment? Your life on earth is more than just carnal things, especially since we didn't get to the kingdom yet. Those things are fine to have, but you should put Christ first. Verse 26, behold the fowls of the air, the birds, for they sow not. They don't do anything to grow, plants. They don't do anything to work and toil to make things come to them. Neither do they reap, nor gather into barns. They don't stock up things like we do. You go in your refrigerator, you're going to have something to eat if you worked for it and put it in there. Birds don't have that. Yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. They still have a place to go and eat. Are ye not much better than them? If you stand for the Lord, won't he still take care of you? He take care of the birds. You're better than the birds.
Right.
The fowls of the air, most of them ain't even the Lord's favorite bird. Yet and still they have food. They have a place to go. And we're the ones that stock up everything. We're better than them. The Lord will take care of you. So don't think about the things that, have to be done. The last verse I'm going to go to is Matthew 10:16. We all up and through Matthew, ain't we? It says, now this is the last verse on that. Matthew 10:16. It says, behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. So in that situation, being on those oppressors' land, you're going to be a sheep amongst wolves, because that's what they are, ravenous wolves. But ye therefore, Salakia, be ye therefore as wise as serpents. That's talking to, a snake never really trusts you. Like you come across a snake, it's always ready to strike. It's looking at you. You ever found a snake in your backyard or anything like that?
Oh, God.
I find snakes in my backyard every so often, and the snake doesn't trust me. It already knows. Without knowing, it knows what I'm coming to do. I'm coming to cut its head off. And that snake is literally trying to get away. And every time I get close, it's trying to strike. So I have to distract and do this, that, and the fourth. Be wise like the serpent. Be always ready for your enemy that's coming for you, but be harmless as a dove. So be wise as that serpent, but harmless as a dove. You get the saying?
I don't know, sir.
Young man Ace?
Can you go
Okay. The serpent is always ready and never trust anybody. So be wise in that fact. Don't ever trust your enemy. That's the first part. But be harmless as a dove. Don't actually be a wolf or a serpent towards people. Right now, there's brothers that are in a situation that they can't change to where they might be, living on an oppressor's land. Be wise around that oppressor, but don't do anything wrongfully to that oppressor. Be smart, be peaceable amongst all men. If possible, the Bible says. I'm kind of paraphrasing. You understand what I'm saying? All right, no sweat. All right, so I hope that answered your question. I gave a little bit of a lesson on it.
No, definitely a lot. Definitely.
Most High in Christ. All right, so we're going to move on in the first verse I want to get, because right now there's a lot. We've been talking about, the Bible, is similar to us. We've been talking about animals. We talked about fowls. We talked about serpents, lions, tigers, and bears. We're going to talk about bears again, because right now, social media is everybody's information as far as how they live their life. If there's a subject that a lot of people agree on, a lot of people in the world, will go with that. Who's heard that thing where they're saying something to the fact of what would you rather be in the forest with, a man or a bear? Anybody heard that?
Is it like you're talking about women?
Yeah, it's a situational thing that they're asking women. Is Kash the only one that heard this?
Salakia, I heard it today.
I haven't heard.
Young man Chris, you heard that before? All right. Young man Chris said yes. So we might be in a good position. If he heard it, damn near everybody heard it. So what that's saying, because right now there's a lot of divisiveness that's happening with a movement out there. It's a feminist movement. And that feminist movement has done nothing but demonize the man. But it trickles down to the black man, because if you notice, who is the face of assault in a sexual manner? There you have it. So when you see crime, the face of a black man is used as crime. When you see assault, you see a man. They're like Harvey Weinstein, Jeff Epstein. Who else can we need? Charlie Sheen. All these men. Dan Snyder. That's another one. Who else? There was one person I was really surprised about. Yeah, Shia LaBeouf gave his girl neurological damage. But yet and still, the black man is the target in the face of all of these things. So that lets me know that anytime there's a situation where they say, who would you rather be in the forest with, a man or a bear? Trust and believe, the man that they're talking about is the black man. And then sisters follow this doctrine and they get it from social media. we got people in the background nodding their head and they agree that sisters follow this model. But logically, that doesn't make any sense. Here, we learn from the Bible. And this is the universal practical knowledge. This is the Israelite school of universal and practical knowledge. So on the surface, we know that you're safer in the forest with a man than a goddamn bear. A bear, something that can be anywhere from 400 to 1,200 pounds. What's the average male, like 200 pounds? Bears have claws damn near as long as a banana. Pause. They have claws that are so long that one swipe can literally clear your head off your shoulders. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, when I
Kalaki, if you could, the mic, the one.
it sounds like whenever I hear that statement, like online, it seems like the women trying to make their own proverb. Because you know that proverb in the scripture where it says that it's better for a man to be like in that corner of a house or something like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or
it's him talking about, like, it's talking about them with a wicked woman, right?
yeah. So it says something like better to meet yeah, or
Somebody look
then-
that up so we can get that, because there's something very special about that verse that people may not realize.
Right, and I think the one I'm thinking about is like it's better to meet a mother bear robbed of her cubs than to like
A fool fall in his folly or something like that.
or
something
that
like
one. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But but the point I'm trying to make is that these women are trying to make their own proverbs because the scripture cuts women all the time on how their attitude and their mouth.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's all I want to say.
Right. You find it? If I could get that verse.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 9. It is better to dwell in the corner of a house, of the housetop, than to be with a brawling woman in a wild house.
What that's saying, and it is something special about that verse because there's stipulations. It doesn't say that it's better to be in the corner. It says the rooftop corner. That sounds like the attic, right? So they're saying it's better to live in an attic than with a contentious, loudmouth, wicked woman. But those are stipulations. Those are stipulations. It's giving you it's setting the stage to show you that it's a woman, but she's wicked, she's brawling, she's causing the house to be terrible. How many men come home and they have a loudmouth woman and they don't even want to be in the house? But that there's vice versa. There might be sisters that come home and maybe the man is not doing anything that he's supposed to do. He might be wicked, leaving his drawers around, this, that, and the fourth. You know, all types of weird stuff going on. Bringing home STDs. It might be better for her to live in the attic than around that. But those are stipulations. You can't just then say it's better to be trapped in a forest with a bear than a man. I just gave you the physical attributes of a bear. A bear can run anywhere from 25 to 40 miles an hour. The average one. The average man doesn't even do a sprint past the age of what? 25, 30 years old? Well, I'll say 30. The average man is never, or human for that matter, is never even going to sprint again on average. So the physical attributes alone, if we go logically from a logical standpoint, you're already physically able to have a better chance with a man than a bear. The problem is that social media, and this is from a source on the internet. This is an AI source that pulled together different sources, and it says social media has become a key source of news for many people and also plays a role in research. But people don't even know how to decipher what's misinformation and what's not, because believe it or not, the government and other state-sponsored agencies play a part in misinformation and dissension against many different groups across the board, whether that be men and women, whether that be blacks and Hispanics. They're causing dissension. If you have the black man and the black woman at odds, that's a very big distraction to where we can't even be on one accord. Now there's a power battle, a structural battle to where we have to have a conversation about bears, as if women don't understand what a bear is. Salakia, Ace, come have a seat. As if women don't understand what a bear is. I know we've read storybooks, but we're not children. For the women who would think, or even men are saying that women might be safer with a bear. And we're going to get more into this information because this is a subject that I want to, completely terrorize because of how ignorant and just stupid it is. But women are getting their wisdom from what? Men are getting their wisdom from what? Just the internet? A whole bunch of compiled information, somebody making a quick TikTok of only things that sound smart to stupid people. There are bears out there, and we're not talking about what was that story, Goldilocks, where she ate the porridge or some BS. Smokey the Bear, Baloo from Jungle Book, Care Bears, Bernstein Bears. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about an actual bear. I want y'all to think. This is how stupid this question is. Anybody ever been to the Poconos? All right, the Poconos is in PA. It's like in the mountains, right? In certain areas, those people have to keep their trash cans in their garage because they have bears in the neighborhood. I can guarantee if a woman walks out and she sees a man on his cell phone, which is normal activity for an adult male in this day and age, on their cell phone, doing something, you might even see the man exercising or running, versus a bear doing normal activity, which is hunting, unaliving. She's walking in the house if she sees the bear. If she's going out to her car and the car is across the street from her house, if she sees a man typing and walking down the street, she's not going to look at the man and think that it's more of a danger than a bear. This don't even make no sense. But because we don't have the wisdom of the scriptures, because this is the law class, we get into it. If you don't have the wisdom of the scriptures, then you're going to make stupid statements that you're safer with a bear in the forest than with a man. Let me get a verse real quick. Let me get Matthew 10 no matter of fact, I will start with Proverbs 9 and 10. And I'll read something real quick. It says, and this is another problem, because you have people all across the globe who have access to tons of information, but they don't know what's real and what's fake. And part of that is played by our enemy, the oppressor, which is so divisive, which is a devil, a deceiver, because you're being deceived. The oppressor has deceived, the devil has deceived the whole world. Let me read this real quick. It says, as of April 2024, there were 5.44 billion internet users worldwide, which amounted to 67% of the global population. So you got billions of people who have the internet, but they don't know how to decipher what's true and what's fake. You have black people online. I just saw a post talking about, you know, the original black people used to be purple and green and yellow. Yes. There's a picture of it, of somebody dressed as an avatar, and the comment says, this is our people's skin color used to be this. And they're giving a whole bunch of reasons that are fictitious on why that is. And I see 1,000 comments agreeing. You don't know, you don't have any wisdom in your body, in your mind, in your heart, because you don't even have a real God to look toward to tell you what to do. But let's go ahead and read in the scriptures. Salaki, it was Proverbs 9 and verse 10. If somebody could get that for me, Baba Kasha.
Khan, sir. Proverbs 10. You said Proverbs 10 and 9?
No, 9 verse 10.
Proverbs chapter 9, verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
People are out here talking about they're fearing a man that's trapped in a forest over a bear. But you should fear the Lord so you have wisdom. Because if you feared the Lord, you would listen to what he says, you would love him. And you would have a greater understanding than life than to think that black people were purple, green, and blue. Than to think that dead Hamites that are buried in Egypt could give you any sense of what the world should be and why you're in a state of hell versus a state of heaven, and why the oppressor can rule over you. You're on the oppressor's internet talking about how great of a people we could be if we look to the old deities. That is fake. Those Hamites are dead and buried, and they don't have the answer for you. Continue.
Proverbs 9.
You can start at the top in verse 10.
All right, there we go. Proverbs 9, 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding.
If you feared the Lord the way you should, by the precepts of the scriptures and not the precepts of men, you would have knowledge that would help you out in this world. Children wouldn't be getting molested, and it's more important things going out here than you know, a stipulation of being trapped in a forest with a damn bear. But children wouldn't be getting molested. Women wouldn't be getting beat on. Men wouldn't be going to jail and paying child support for children that they already take care of. Brothers wouldn't be murdering each other out in the streets, or Salakia, unaliving each other out in the streets. There wouldn't be an enormous amount of effeminate men out in the world causing women to have less choices in a good husband. If we feared the Lord the way that we're supposed to. Continue.
Proverbs chapter 9, verse 11. For by me thy days shall be multiplied, and the years of thy life shall be increased.
Do you see how early we're dying at such a young age? People say all you have to have is money in order you to have a good life. But as you can see, Puff Daddy don't got no wisdom. That's why he's beating the brakes off of Cassie in the videotape. He has all the money in the world, but he don't got no wisdom. You got what's her name? Krishan Rock.
Yeah. Krishan.
Yeah, Shorty has a missing tooth. You got all the money in the world, but you had a missing tooth, and then you're tattooing a man on your face that she's not even with him no more.
No.
Where's the wisdom in that? Money doesn't help you with that. The fear of the Lord, following the laws, the statutes, and commandments help with that. I'm trying to not be so volatile in the way I approach this subject, but god damn, a bear versus a man in the forest. What was do y'all remember the guy that was Captain Zariak used to battle him all the time. Brother Polite. Do y'all remember his teacher's name? Malachi York. Thank you, gosh. There are brothers that and sisters that are still talking about Malachi York, saying he got 135 years for giving the truth. And the so-called white man put him under the jail. Malachi York went to jail because he's a pedophile. He misleaded the people. And the Lord saw fit to have him under the jail where he belongs. But if you had an ounce of wisdom in your stupid head, you would understand that Malachi York is not giving you anything but a lie so he can satisfy his carnal needs. He was having all types of relations with young girls. But you don't see that because you'll go ahead and see a slick post on the internet with smooth words. And the next thing you know, you're just another dumb person that's caught up in a trap. The same women that are giving you this message saying that they would rather be, trapped in the forest with a bear versus a man, they're meeting men off of apps and inviting them to their house. They're going home with men they've never met. Hold your peace, young man Ace. They're going home with men that they've never seen before in life and cracking them legs open. But yet and still, you think that you can get on the internet and know all the keys to life. You think that you can, get rid of evil spirits by waving sage around. That's not going to stop you from going under the ground. That's not going to stop anything terrible and evil and wicked from happening to you. Let me get Matthew 10 and 28. And we still good on time. We ain't going to be too long. And I want to read something else. There's a topic out there that few people are that familiar with. It's called social engineering. If you use the internet, you should kind of be aware of what's happening, because social engineering affects you in a slew of different ways. Whether it's propaganda being put out there by different companies to get you to buy their products when you don't actually need it, that have a whole bunch of cancer causing agents. Whether it's a Republican or a Democrat putting information about one or the other, whether it's the government, putting information out there so they can change the laws to, fatten the pockets of the rich. Social engineering is something that affects critical thinking on a high level. It triggers emotions. It creates a sense of defensiveness. And there's also a lot of, applications that you use every day and you don't realize that you're being socially engineered. Let me see. Let me go ahead. It says, let me see, using, there it is. I'll just read this part of it because I don't want to stick too long on it. It says social engineering uses believable narratives. Social engineering engineers research that targets to create narratives that are easy to believe. An example is a business email compromise. I don't want to go too deep into that. What that is just somebody trying to steal your money, and they're sending you an email and they're giving you to divulge information as if they're your bank. But in real life, outside of a monetary transaction, what social engineering is simply somebody giving you misinformation to manipulate your decisions in life. You'll see a whole bunch of stuff about black men this, black men that, and it changes your whole view on them. You'll see a whole bunch of stuff about black women this, black women that. So now men have an excuse that are brothers to get with an oppressor. But in real life, it's up to you to pick and choose who you decide to lay with. Salaki, I'll take a second to get that verse if we got it. You sure you got it? All right, let's hear it.
Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body.
Don't fear men. Continue.
But are not able to kill the soul.
These men out here can't kill your soul. So even if you're a woman that says, you know what, I'm fearing for my life because there's a man walking down the street, it would be better to have a 1,200-pound grizzly bear at my throat than a man asking me for my phone number. There's no wisdom in that, but there's wisdom in this. Continue.
But rather fear him which is able to destroy both the soul and body in hell.
the Lord can destroy your soul and your body in hell. You can be missing every single appendage and every single limb you have and be at the mercy of some oppressor that's force feeding you cream corn all day. So, something diabolical. You should fear the Lord. You shouldn't fear, what you're hearing on social media and TikToks. Let me get Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 5 and 6, because Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans should no longer be listening to the stupidness and the wisdom of oppressors that would have them believe that men and women don't belong together, that men and women shouldn't be in what they call a nuclear family. The last time I checked, with that whole statement of men and women, women being in danger of a man versus a bear, there's women in a LGBT lifestyle together that are beating the brakes off of each other. What's Brittany Griner? Wasn't she accused of abusing her significant other?
Con.
She was beating her from limb to limb, allegedly, from what I'm hearing. The divorce rate amongst lesbian women is higher than straight couples and gay couples. But I don't hear anything saying that women should be feared over a bear. I don't hear that. You okay? No sweat. We're going to Deuteronomy chapter 4, 5 through 6. Because with everything I'm saying, and I'm not going too deep into social engineering, but with every doctrine, every single thing they're giving us on the internet that we can't decipher, it is literal poison. And I'll give you an analogy because it's something recently that I had to deal with. And I'm Salakia Ace. What were you about to say? Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Deuteronomy.
You got it.
Deuteronomy
Chapter 4.
Chapter 4, verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my God commanded me.
So this is being told to the Israelites. I have taught you statutes and commandments. Continue.
That ye should do so in the land commanded me.
Excuse me?
Oh, Slakia. That ye shall do it in the land
whither
ye go to possess it.
So the Lord is saying, or Salakia. So the verse is saying, and I believe this is Moses speaking to the people, right? You've been taught these laws, these statutes and commandments, and you should be doing them in the land where you go to possess it. Right now, we don't possess the land. We're occupied in this land, but we're still supposed to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, or you'll just be the next dummy on the internet with some nonsensical garbage about being trapped in a forest, or talking about you blue, purple, and green, or worshiping a cabbage, or being a Christian while somebody has spittle in their mouth and they're telling you lies. How many times have we been in church and some musty breath preacher has told us lies? And in the Bible, and it's so bad that we're believing what he says, but we can't even decipher what's going on because we're not even critically thinking. We're not even being practical in the knowledge and using the sound mind that God gave us because we're being tricked out of our position because we don't have the actual wisdom. These men that followed this were very wise. Continue.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and do.
Keep these laws, statutes, and commandments and do them. Continue.
For this is your wisdom.
For this is your wisdom. Not some dumb saying or proverb that you get off the internet from some other culture that doesn't really mean anything. Something that's not going to help you in life. These women are picking up all this stuff off of social media. These men are picking up all this stuff off of social media, the internet, all these fake gurus. At the end of the day, is your life getting any better? Or is the next big thing distracting you from the failure that you reach listening to the last person that you listened to? Continue.
And your understanding.
It's going to give you understanding. These laws, these statutes and commandments can have you understanding how stupid it is to listen to some fake guru on the internet talking about the black woman is God. talking about grand rising, queen. So if you a sister that knows the law, statutes, and commandments, and you got a man after the Most High's heart, he could tell you that that man saying grand rising queen is just trying to knock them draws off. That's all he's doing. That's all that's ever going to come out of that. Or you might actually find you a simp that's a weak coward and does actually maybe believe you're God. But then what type of relationship are you going to have with some weak brother like that? Any more on that verse, Ace?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
In the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes, and said, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Is it Most High Christ? The water for you reading that. As you listen and you learn and you see the state that Black, Hispanics, or Native Americans in, are we seen as a wise and great people? No. Huh?
I said not to the white man.
Right. Say oppressor, that way we don't get banned. I appreciate your honesty, though. Most High Christ. But we're not seen as a wise and great nation as a whole. We're on the bottom of society. They get to make fun of our struggle after creating it. We follow everything. Go ahead.
Salakia, I asked a young man earlier today about, kings.
Right.
I asked him, have you ever seen a black king? Do you know anything about black kings? He said, well, Martin Luther King.
Oh,
and I
man.
laughed. And I was like, so that's the only king? He was like, nah. He said, over there in Europe, the United Kingdom, they got kings over there.
Okay, so Most High Christ, at least he knew about that, because the Martin Luther King, that destroyed me.
Nah.
That just, I almost sunk in my chair.
Nah,
Martin Luther King.
He was saying the oppressor. He was talking about Queen Elizabeth
Mhm.
and all them. He was talking about their kingmanship and their legacy over there. He do not.
Oh, so he didn't even know that.
No.
All right, this is a quick sidebar, because at one point in time, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans ruled Germany, England, and France, and that's what they called the Dark Ages. And that's a clever little deceitful way of naming the time that our forefathers, had ruled the world. But if you go over to certain European countries, you'll see on crests the heads of what they call Moors. These people are literally Negroes. These people are literally what we would call today Native Americans and Hispanics. And the only reason why we have the last names and, the languages that we have today is because we were conquered by these very people. Spaniards were originally, seen as Black. But then after and over time, the oppressor was able to conquer us, because the Lord was not with us because we didn't follow the laws, the statutes, and commandments. And like I said earlier in the lesson, we trusted our enemies and they were able to overtake us. And there's a book, and it's called, I'm trying to think of, it's called The Image of the Black and Western Art, I believe it's called. It might, what's that book say right there? That tall white book?
The Image of the Bible in Western
No, I think it's black.
Black. Yeah.
So
It says the image of the black in Western art.
yes, if you look in that book, and I think I have like two or three volumes of it, you'll see a lot of different images of Black people that weren't downtrodden slaves, that weren't some savage. They were dressed in royal apparel. They were dressed in what a knight in shining armor would wear. But let our oppressor tell it, alls we were was just ashy Negroes that came off of a boat, and we didn't even have any organization or anything. But what the Bible has tried to tell us for 1,000 years is that we needed to keep the laws and statutes and commandments. All the money in the world, all the access to the internet in the world, access to television, access to, what do the Egyptians read? The dead, the book of the dead. That's not going to give you wisdom. Salakia. And that was Deuteronomy 4, 5, and 6. Let me go ahead and move on. So what I wanted to say in an analogy I wanted to give was what we bring to our own people has been a poison. The doctrine from the oppressor, whether it be a different religion from the Arabs, the Asians, whether it be a Caucasian Christ, this is poison and it destroys us. Whether it be information from the internet, whether it be whoredom, it's been destroying us. Have y'all ever had like when the weather switches from winter to spring? Have y'all ever seen how many ants try to get in your house?
Yeah.
Just imagine those ants are like people, right? And those ants are supposed to be going into certain places and getting the right things. Everything's wild.
Yes,
Oh, most of my friends. But those ants get in your house. So do you know what happens? When the ants come into my house, I have ant traps that have borax in it. It must be sweet because the ants, they gather around the borax and they take it back to the nest and they destroy every single thing that touches and eats that borax. And that's what Black people are doing to us that are bringing these other doctrines in. When you bring drugs into your community, the oppressor is literally giving you pesticides to wipe you out, because it's been proven that not only has the DEA, and these aren't my words, this is from Business Insider, the DEA worked with the Sinaloa cartel, which was ran by El Chapo, and they brought in 80 billion? It was some astronomical number in the billions of dollars worth of drugs. So the DEA got the cartel to give Chicago damn near 80% of billions of dollars worth of drugs. And that poison, that borax, that pesticide was brought into our neighborhoods and it destroyed it. The Christian church is giving us poison to bring back to our people, and it's destroying us. If you look at the Black household now, the male in the Black household is just a shell of what he should be. If you look at the Black household, there's a lot of times where the man might not be there because crack in the 80s was brought in. And that was also something that was given to us by the government. We're being destroyed from the inside out. And if we just had the wisdom of the Most High, we wouldn't be bringing back poison. We'd be bringing back the truth. We'd be bringing back the bread of life versus bringing poison to our communities. We would look at what's being said on the internet, and instead of Black, Hispanic, and Native women, American women agreeing with a bear being less dangerous than a man, we would look at it and laugh and go, what are these stupid heathens even talking about? And we would be in good relationships. Our children will be growing, and they wouldn't be ending up in a situation in Chicago where half of your class that never graduated is being unalive and assaulted by military-grade weapons. That's even poison like borax that ants take to the Black community. What time is it? All right, Salakia, let me see. I think I got one more verse, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Because what we need to realize is our leaders have given us nothing but poison. You mentioned Martin Luther King that the young man said, right? Martin Luther King at the end of it said, I feel like, and I'm paraphrasing, I feel like I led my people into a burning building. And he definitely did. Huh?
So you integrated.
Yeah, integrated the people into a burning building. Because now we have no structures that can really help us. We don't have that much brick and mortar. If you look around, who's feeding us? The Arabs, the Asians, and like our leaders, even the ones that were bad for us, the ones that might have had some type of not even common sense, but they even looked like they were doing the right thing. Those people have been replaced with rappers and actors. Suki Hana and Cardi B will most likely be getting your vote for Joe Biden than anybody else with some common sense. Even though Joe Biden is a terrible candidate, just like any other person, like Donald Trump's a terrible candidate, we shouldn't vote for none of them. But people like Cardi B and Suki Hana, those are our leaders. Sexy Red, those are our leaders. Kevin Gates, Young, what's his? I almost called him a Slim Thug. Young Thug. Damn, I'm getting old. Slim Thug, Salakia. But those are our leaders. All the poison has been poured into our communities, and we're still going to keep taking that poison back with stuff from Malachi York, stuff about people being purple, blue, and green. Really? We need to have the wisdom of the Lord. This coming from me, and somebody, if I can get Ecclesiastes 13 and 23. This coming from me as a regular, I seem like a regular guy that's just out there. This doesn't make a hill of beans with the voices that are out there that actually have money and power, and the scriptures foretold of that. I'm trying to tell brothers and sisters the truth of what the Bible is. But when somebody with some money speaks, you don't have Ecclesiasticus in that Bible. You got it?
Sir. You want me to go ahead now? Because I see was
Ecclesiastes 13 and 23. Nah, we can get to it.
Ecclesiastes 13 and 23. When a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue.
Kendrick Lamar and Drake are going at it right now. We listening to every single word that they saying. We're so much listening to it as a people. We even are saying stuff that they didn't even say and devising up these wild concocted theories on why they even said something. When a rich man speaks, everybody is going to lend their ear to hear it. Everybody's going to listen. If a rich man would only speak the truth, we'd be a lot better off, but that's not what's being told. Kanye is rich. He said the Jews are black, but he went and got himself an oppressor as a wife. The second oppressor as a wife. He's taking her up and down the street, booty butt naked, damn near. And the scriptures specifically speak against that. Kanye don't got the truth. He has a shell of what he should be saying, but everybody listen when Kanye speak. Everybody listen when Kyrie Irving is speaking. Continue.
And look what he said. They extol it to the clouds.
They repeating what he's saying. Yo, did you hear what Kanye said? Did you hear what Kyrie Irving said? Did you hear what Drake said? Even all the bad things that the rappers say is being extolled to the clouds. Even all the bad stuff that what was those girls called? One of them was with Diddy.
City Girls.
The City Girls. They talking about they're going to F a rich man till he ain't one. That's the motto of all these girls out here now. Not all the girls, but a lot of these women are literally carrying that motto. They're literally stacking a body on top of body, going a rich man to rich man, because a rich woman, or what's perceived to be rich, said they gonna F a rich man till he ain't one. They're repeating stuff that is detrimental, bringing borax back to their people, poison, pesticides, exterminating our people with the stupidity of the wisdom of the world. Continue.
One second. Give me 1 second.
You can start it from the top if you want.
I got you. Want me to go to the top?
Yeah, and then we'll go ahead and get ready to end it.
Ecclesiastes 13, chapter 13, verse 23. When a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue, and look what he saith, they extol it to the clouds. But if the poor man speak,
if someone from the ISUPK speaks,
they say, what fellow is this?
Whose man's is this? Who is this speaking? Do you have money? How do you, you're broke. You can't tell me nothing. Tell me something when you have money. What kind of car do you drive? That's not a G-Wagon out there. That's not a, how you pronounce it? Maybach? Yeah, Maybach, if you will. You don't have what Puff Daddy has. You don't have what Drake has. You don't have a mouthful of gold teeth that costs $50,000. You don't have the Rollie bust down on your wrist. What are you even talking about? You can't tell me nothing. You don't eat shrimp, crab, and lobster with your pinky out with a diamond worth what it cost somebody's 10 times somebody's mortgage. You can't tell me nothing. Continue.
But if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him.
If that man mess up one time, if they perceive that he said something wrong, they like get him up out of here. But all of these people that have fallen at one point in time that were rich, y'all hunkered on to every single word. This idiot Diddy was talking about he doesn't get any sleep. What he say? I'll sleep when I'm dead. Wasn't Diddy saying like he never sleeps? Wasn't he sending people to walk for cheesecakes? All the while he's behind the scenes doing Lord knows what. Y'all heard the rumors of him and Meek Mills. I'm not sure if that was AI or not, but that sound was disturbing. But y'all listen to what Diddy said. He said, take that, take that. Y'all did. Y'all did exactly that. Now y'all seeing that Diddy was full of just utter garbage. Y'all seeing that just because you're rich doesn't mean you have all the answers. If you don't got the wisdom of what the Most High has passed down to the priests and the prophets, then you don't got nothing. Money's not going to stop you from getting AIDS. I was just talking with a brother about, y'all ever heard of Tommy Morrison? Wow. Tommy Morrison was rich. He ended up dying from AIDS. I don't know if he was doing drugs. I don't know if he was, with that lifestyle, if he was getting diddled. I don't know what's going on, but all I know is that money and that fame didn't help him. All I know is the money and the fame is not helping Diddy right now. All these brothers and all these sisters going through these problems because they don't have the wisdom of the Most High. And what we need to realize is this. We should put down what all these other nations that have given us as poison and stop feeding it to our people, because we'll be a lot better off. With that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Priest and Officer Kaash.
This is the ISPBK security announcement. New brother and sister. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to learn and shut themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if our brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, they're to seek counsel from the head. Tied to the command. Numbers 18 and 21. Malachi 3, 8 and 10. My which means a tenth in Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Priest fund, the fuel and offering for the priest is not mandatory, but it's not for life. The upcoming holy convocations is the Feast of the Blowing of Trumpets. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, he should start wearing black boots, pants, shirt, heaven, and scarf. And with that, we say Elijah, if you can stand. Majin Sabat, Majin, Brock,
Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh Shah Brakathum.
Star Trinity Sisters, Sisters of Majin, Mena Israel, Majin Sabat, Majin, Brock.
Yahweh Shamar Athan Bashim Yahweh Shah.